This week on the Computer Chronicles, Windows 98. We'll show you some of the new features of Win 98. We'll ask Windows Magazine editor Mike Elgin whether it's worth upgrading. You'll meet some Windows 98 users to see what they think. We'll show you some of the more fun aspects of Windows 98 with two add-on packages, Plus 98 and Gizmos 98. We'll meet the man who developed one of the popular alternatives to Windows, Mr. Linux, Linus Torvalds. Plus, my pick of the week, the ultimate solution to email on the road. It's all coming up next on the Computer Chronicles.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by Cybersmith, wired for fun and learning, with locations in Cambridge, Massachusetts, Palo Alto, California, and White Plains, New York. And by TechWeb, for up-to-the-minute technology news.
Hi, and welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee. Well, Bill Gates and company have offered up Windows 98 now, and most users are saying, show me the value. Is it only a fix or an upgrade, or is it really a new generation operating system? Bottom line, is it worth the $90? Here to attempt to persuade us is Kim Akers, a Windows 98 product manager for Microsoft. Welcome, Kim.
Hi, good to be
now,
here.
I want to do something with you I never let a guest do in this show. I want you to sell me. Pitch me. Convince me and our viewers that it's worth upgrading to 98.
Well, let's just take a look right away. Let's get right in. Well, one of the things you can do with Windows 98 is similar to the web. You can navigate on your hard drive using the backwards and forwards buttons just like you would on the web.
So it keeps track of where I've been, even in the desktop, and I can just go forward.
And you can use backwards and forwards as a way of navigating.
Nice.
The other thing is, as you can see here, you can real quickly get a preview of what you'd be opening up. So you don't actually have to try to remember what it is you've saved your file name as. You can just quickly see what it is.
All right, you're 2 for 2. That's very good.
Other thing you can do is directly from here, let's say that I wanted to go out to the web. Let's just go out to ESPN here, see what happened last night. We'll check it out a little bit. I think there was some baseball activity last night. And I'm real easy. I'm right out on the web. If I wanted to go back to my hard drive, I simply click the backwards button and I'm right back on my hard drive. So no longer do you have to think about which application you want. You just go find the information.
So this is all the web integration stuff everybody's heard about. It doesn't matter whether the information's on your hard drive or up on some server in cyberspace somewhere. Same access.
Exactly. Exact same way of navigating.
What else?
Now, similar to how you use backwards and forwards on the web, links or hyperlinks is also something that's pretty helpful. So what we've done is we've redone help. Don't ever want to have help, but in case you do.
In case something doesn't work.
In case you do, what you can see is that now it's very similar to the web. It's all hyperlink based. I can simply click. Let's say I don't know exactly what I'm looking for. I just click through until I find the topic.
So it looks like you're in a web page. Wherever the cursor is, the thing turns blue. It says, I'm a link. It gets underlined. Click on it. Takes you somewhere.
Exactly. We've also built in some new troubleshooting wizards. So instead of having to call into product support, you can now go ahead.
You get put on hold.
Oh, we would never do that to you.
Right.
You can go ahead and answer a couple of quick questions.
You're the Microsoft disc jockey.
We'll solve some problems for you. So let's say you're having trouble printing. You can say you can't print out your document. You're on a local printer, and it'll go ahead and provide you some suggestions.
Okay.
Now, if you're still having trouble and you want more information, you have the ability to go directly out to the web. So right here we have this button called the Web Help. Go ahead and click on that, and it'll take me directly out to the Microsoft
So automatically knows the right place to go on your website so I can get an answer to my question.
Exactly.
So again, in lieu of calling on the phone.
Exactly, and you can even send the product support an email, and they can answer your question.
What else?
Now, another new feature is something called Windows Update. This gives you one central location to get updates to your machine. So you get new updates to your operating system even after you walk into the store and you actually buy the product. We'll continue to sort of update that operating system. So you mean
that's automatic? If I go to the Windows Update section, it automatically logs on to the portion of your website that looks at my machine, says, hey, you don't have the latest driver or the latest this?
Exactly. So what we do is we take a look at what's on your machine, and we come back and we say, hey, based on what you have on your machine, we think that you might want to install this security fix or this operating system.
The forever current operating system.
Exactly.
Last thing, 1 minute, USB support. Let's know about that.
Well, anybody who's ever tried to install a scanner will really, really, really appreciate USB support. So I'm going to need your help here.
I have a scanner right here.
This is a USB scanner. What I want you to do is plug it into the back of my machine there.
I'm just going to, while the machine's on.
Exactly. While the machine's on, you'll notice you've plugged it in here, and it's going to go ahead and identify that you've plugged in a device, what that actual device is. It's loading all the appropriate drivers. Now, you're not having to take apart your machine. You're not having to turn your machine off. Real easy to do. You can imagine.
It doesn't say put in disk or find all that stuff?
Nothing like that. And so now it's ready to go. So now all you need to do is put the picture in.
And this is going to work?
Hit the on button right there. It's going to bring up the imaging software. And I'm going to go ahead and say that we want to scan it in. And it's going to go ahead and automatically.
You installed a scanner in 10 seconds.
Couple of seconds.
You're a good sales lady. Thank you, Kim. All right, well, we've heard the official Microsoft view. Now let's talk to some users who have upgraded to Windows 98 and see what they think.
Yuri Weinstein lives in San Francisco, but he often connects from his home to computers some 35 miles away. Yuri uses the multiple monitor feature of Windows 98 to open files on several machines at once, creating a kind of dual desktop.
With multiple monitor feature, I can easily locate different machines. Let's say, for example, I connected to 2 machines and have them on separate monitors. So I don't have to have, press Alt, Tab, and switch in between different windows and do this stuff all over and over again.
Windows 98 will accommodate up to 9 different monitors, although each one must be connected to a separate PCI card. While a desk full of monitors might be overkill for most home offices, Yuri would not go back to a single screen.
I can tell that a lot of users probably will do the same as I did. Whenever you try and go through some setup problems or actions to get it running, you probably will never want to work on a single monitor anymore.
Deep in Silicon Valley, Robert Scopel is another convert to Windows 98, but with a different focus. Robert is a conference planner who does a lot of business internationally. He was attracted by the new video conference support built into Windows 98.
Okay. Well, let me take you to the new website I just opened up, and I'll show you around. On the weekends, I'm stuck working because I plan conferences all over the world. And like right now, I'm planning a VBITS conference in Frankfurt, Germany, and a conference in Tokyo also for Visual Basic programmers. So I need to communicate with them around the clock because obviously they're sleeping while we're awake, and they're awake while we're sleeping.
Robert also makes use of Windows 98's NetShow to stream video from his conferences and the added support for shared applications to co-design conference web pages. The program's size and features are a far cry from the PC's first bare-bones operating systems.
What is an operating system? That's really tough for me to answer. I'll leave that to the DOJ and Bill Gates. Yeah. But I certainly like the added features. I certainly feel better when I get an operating system that has more stuff in it.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Sarah O'Brien.
If there is a Windows 98 expert in the country, it's certainly Mike Elgin, who's editor of Windows Magazine. Mike's been using Win98, I guess, for a long time through many of the beta versions up until the shipping version now, and many people, many of our viewers saw you on the show for several months previewing Windows 98 before it first came out. Now that you've played with the real shipping version, what is your opinion? Is it worth the $90?
I think for everybody using Windows 95, it's definitely something people should upgrade to. Yeah, it's the new and improved version of Windows 95.
Okay.
And that's my take. Not fundamentally different, just a lot better than the old version.
All right. Now, one of the best features, or one of your favorite features I know in Win98, most users will never even find because it doesn't really install with the program. It's buried somewhere in that Win98 CD, and it's called Tweak UI, which means what?
It's a utility that tweaks the user interface. UI is for user interface.
Customized user interface.
That's right. And Microsoft created this utility to address a lot of the complaints people had about what they'd like to do with the user interface.
So don't get stuck with Bill's version of how to do the work.
That's right. And for people who want to play around with the user interface,
show us what you can do then. So it's called Tweak UI?
That's right. Now I've got the Windows 98 CD in the CD-ROM drive, and I've searched for a file called tweakui.inf. Which is for information file.
Right.
Now, once I found it, I simply right-click on it.
Install it.
And select Install from the context menu. Again, that was a right-click, select Install, and that's all I have to do. And it installs by itself in the background, takes a couple of seconds.
All right, now what are the kinds of things I can do? What can I tweak to improve my user interface to make it work better for me?
Well, first thing you do is you go to the Control Panel to find the Tweak UI applet.
All right, so it's a new option inside Settings and Control Panel.
That's correct.
There it is.
And I'll go ahead and launch that item, and now I see all these tabs.
Right, so there's mouse controls, menu speed.
Menu speed. Let's go ahead and crank that all the way to the left.
Why not just speed it up?
That's right. The faster the better, in my opinion.
All right, what else could I do?
Okay, we'll click on Explorer. Now, if you don't like this big white box that accompanies every shortcut icon, you can make it a
white
light
arrow goes in there?
That's right. Now this is a nice little gray arrow.
You're really sophisticated user.
That's
You've got a fine eye, Mike.
That's exactly right.
All right, we'll all do that. What else? The desktop.
Desktop. A lot of people don't want the recycle bin or some of the other
It's very hard to get rid of some of those icons on your desktop, but you can do it with this.
You can't just delete them, but you can make them invisible in this, or you can add other things like scheduled tasks or your subscription folder. Those things can exist as new hardwired icons.
So if I just remove the check from Recycle Bin or Network Neighborhood or install Internet Explorer, they'll go away.
That's exactly right.
All right, that's worth it.
Okay, another one of my favorites is network. Now, when you log into the company network, it's kind of tedious every day to enter your name and password.
Login, password, is that it?
By entering it here and clicking on log on automatically, it does it for you. So you never have to enter another password.
All right, so once you boot up Windows and get into that, the getting onto the network process is now automated also.
Everything is automated, so you never have to enter any password.
Saves you time. You don't have to remember what your new password is.
That's correct. The downside, of course, is that other people can automatically get in by simply turning on your computer, so you have to be careful.
Mike, there is a tab called Paranoia. Speaking of that, what in the world is the Paranoia option?
Well, I can't tell you, Stuart. I have to tell you. This actually clears certain history trails that Windows leaves behind. For example, when you surf the internet, somebody can go in and look at where you've been.
So all that back-forward business we saw before means somebody can actually afterward maybe go back and see where you've been and what you've done with your machine?
Exactly. Now, if you don't want people to be able to do that, you can click on individual things like clear Internet Explorer history at logon. So when you reboot your machine, it wipes all of those things clean so nobody can see what you've been doing.
So when the special prosecutor subpoenas your hard drive, it's clean and he can't tell what letters you wrote to some friend of yours.
Exactly right.
All right, now you can actually do Tweak UI on Win95, can't you?
That's right. There's a Windows 95 specific version of Tweak UI, which is not on the Windows 95 CD.
All right, so it's a download.
That's right. You have to go to the Microsoft site, search for Tweak UI, download and install it in the same way.
But on the Win98 CD, go find it, install it, and play.
That's right.
Mike, thank you. All right, well, it may be a Windows world for many computer users, but Microsoft does not own the whole PC operating business. There is a very popular alternative out there called Linux. Why is it called Linux? Because it was developed by a Finnish programmer named Linus Torvalds.
Linus Torvalds is a 28-year-old software engineer from Sweden. In 1991, when he was a student at Helsinki University in Finland, he wanted to buy a personal computer, but he was not happy with the choice of operating systems.
The problem was the machine is just half of what you need. The other part is the software, and quite frankly, it just sucked.
So Linus developed his own operating system, one he could afford, based on Unix.
I had been programming for half my life at that point. I was 21, and I just knew that I was the best programmer in the world. I mean, I was young, I was brash, and I thought, hey, I can do better than this.
Linux grew from 1 user to 10 in its first year, then a few hundred. As more programmers discovered it, they added their own features. Today there are well over 5 million users, and the software is still open source and completely free.
Thanks to a lot of programmers all around the world. I mean, it's been a lot of people working on it. But even the people who haven't actually made contributions in the form of code, there are lots of people who have contributed in testing out things, even when they didn't intend to. They did. By using it, they tested it.
Linux took another leap in popularity this year when major computer companies, including Netscape and Oracle, announced their support of the operating system. There is plenty of free software available through the internet, but few commercial applications so far. So how can Linux compete with Microsoft Windows? Linus says the difference is in the way it competes.
Linux doesn't compete on the terms of the marketplace. Linux competes on its own terms, which is that, yes, you can buy it on a CD, but if you buy one CD, you can install it legally on 100 machines. And if you don't want to buy the CD, you can actually install it directly over the internet.
If Linux is given away free of charge, how can anyone build a business selling it? VA Research is one company that is not concerned by the lack of licensing fees. VA has built complete, ready-to-use Linux systems since 1993. The company now ships an average of 20 systems a day. They are no threat to Dell or Compaq yet.
They're dependent on what works best for Microsoft. On the other hand, we have a lot of leeway there, and we have a lot of things that we can do to make those things better. We can add to Linux. We can develop code in Linux where it makes things more stable, more reliable, and supporting our hardware and our customers better.
For Linus Torvalds, his creation may not provide him with a paycheck, but there are other rewards.
It's great for your kind of self-esteem to have people use your system and really enjoy using it. It's a great feeling. I feel that I've done something relevant.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Sarah O'Brien.
Windows 98 does have lots of practical new features in it, but hey, what about having some fun with your computer? You can do some very cool new things on your PC with 2 add-on packages. And the first one we'll look at is Microsoft's Plus 98. And Kim, you're back with us again. And another $40 or so, I get Plus 98. What do I do with that?
So first thing you should do is take a look at some of the new themes. Let's go up here into Plus 98 and we'll pull up some of the new themes. So depending upon your personality, you can really set your computer to match your personality.
And the theme is the wallpaper and the
desktop,
look
the
of the
icons, how it looks. So if you're into Kathy, let's say.
So if you're into comic books.
You're into Garfield,
right.
You can go ahead and do that. If you want to go a little bit more highbrow, for example, you could go up to Photo Disk, get some images here of different items that were going on.
So this is more customizing your desktop, the kind of look, the fuzzy environment.
Exactly how you want. Go ahead and get a screensaver that takes place at the exact same time. So really customizing your desktop how you want it to look and how you want to work. So let's go ahead and actually apply this Peanuts one here. We'll pretend that we're in the comic book mode today.
We're in the Peanuts world now.
Yes, exactly. So you'll notice that, let me get out of there, and you'll notice that I have all sorts of different Peanuts characters here.
All right.
A couple of other things that you can do with Plus 98 is it comes with a new music CD player. So one of the problems...
What's new about it?
One of the problems you used to have is you used to have to type in every single song that was on your CD player.
Right.
With this CD player, it goes out to the internet and downloads all that information for you. So all I have to do is simply select the song. I don't have to.
So on my desktop, I've got a list of all the music, and it says what it is, who's doing it, etc.
Exactly. I don't have to memorize anymore.
So every music CD I buy now, I can actually pull that information
Yep,
from the web.
and it comes right down from the web. And then if you want to find out more information about the particular band that you're listening to, or go find other CDs that are similar sort of genre of music, you can get that all right from here.
Further integration of the web.
Exactly, making it easy to do that.
All right, so music, what else?
Now, for those people out there who think that they are sort of closet photographers, we have another tool for them, something called Picture It Express. What this does is this allows you to take all those pictures that you've scanned in using that USB scanner and go ahead and real easily modify them.
So you got a little baby Photoshop built in or something like that?
So let's go ahead and open up this picture that we scanned in a little bit earlier. And let's say that I wanted to change the edge effects. So I'm going to go ahead and change some of these. So I can really sort of customize and modify my pictures real easily. If I wanted to change the tint of this, I'll go ahead and say I'm done there, and let's go back in and change some more of the color tint or something like that. All I do is I simply drag these balls around, and you'll notice the colors changing as I go about doing it. So let's say that I like
Photoshop for Dummies.
Yeah,
or something
real
like
easy to do. So real easy and lots of fun activities that you can do. There's also some games that come with Plus 98, but we don't want to play those right now. That would take up too much time.
There is some serious stuff in Plus 98, right? It comes with what, a virus scan program?
It does. It comes with virus scanning.
The McAfee?
McAfee virus scan. It comes with some tools to help you clean up old files that have been sitting on your hard drive, and a real easy way of compressing folders if you want to. So that's for the more serious side of it also.
It's another $40 or so, you get all that stuff.
Exactly.
All right, Kim, thank you very much. All right, well, there is a whole software industry built on offering add-ons to Microsoft products, and one of the new entrants in the field is Play, best known for its snappy video capture card, but now Play has come up with Gizmos 98, and here to show it to us is the infamous Kiki stock camera. Welcome, Kiki.
Hi, Stuart.
Now, some people have seen you and I looking at the beta version at some of the trade shows of Gizmos 98. You got the real shipping version now.
Absolutely.
You got like 25 different applications, is it, that comes with this thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's go through some of them. We don't have time to do all of them. First of all, what's the little bar at the bottom?
Well, you know, there was a problem with, you have a lot of files on your desktop. How can we cram them in a small space? So we created what was called Launchpad. I kind of like to think of it as the conveyor belt for all of your different
So that's all
programs.
the apps inside Gizmos there.
Absolutely right.
All right, so I see you got a bunch of clocks there. So you kind of like improving on what Microsoft has done with the typical accessory stuff?
Absolutely. So our whole idea was we wanted to bring a little bit more of realism and add kind of a more of
TV
personality. Exactly. So this is just one of 4 clocks. This is a digital clock that you can actually use your CD to wake you up with music if you want to. Some other cool features. There's also a neat little analog one. So again,
is that a little alarm clock kind of thing I see down there too?
You can totally just have your own choice of whatever you want to do.
All right, now you've also improved on the calculators, right? You got a whole bunch of different calculators up there that look real.
Yes. That whole mathematical process, you know, we just can't seem to get it out of our
scientific
brains.
calculator.
Yes, so this is what we call,
That's the price of admission right there.
The
right?
PC 100, this is what we call AKA the brain.
Okay.
And one of the cool features is, you know, as I'm just kind of going through here and doing stuff, you can see it starts
paper roll.
a paper roll, exactly. Now you can also print it out, and not only do we have the scientific calculator, but we have cool financial calculators, just a bunch of different stuff.
Okay, now something really cool, what's it called, Picture Explorer, that lets you organize all the pictures on your hard drive?
Yes. Now this was a big thing that I really wanted because, of course, being the snappy queen that I am, you know, I have all those images.
Put all those images in, you don't know where they are, what they're called, how to find them.
Exactly. So what you see here is you have little thumbnails, and just double-clicking on them, I can instantly, you know, access them. Now, I don't know if you remember in Blade Runner, they had this cool machine that allowed you to look at pictures and zoom in on them. Well, we can do the same thing.
The Blade Runner,
and it even, you know, brings it to a really nice resolution.
Now, does it automatically go out and find all the GIFs and all that stuff and put them together?
It has a special cool little search file, so you can go through and search your hard drives and set up files and do the whole thing.
Another thing I want you to show us quickly, you have an amazing little thing here called Performer 98 that actually lets you kind of make slideshows, movies, commercials or something?
Yeah, our whole idea is, think of it as kind of PowerPoint mixed with the television studio in a way. And again, just by double clicking on the little apps down here, we'll bring up Performer 98, which we kind of look as the internet filmmaking tool, where you can take your own pictures, your own music, your own narration,
make a little movie type thing and actually use it as a file which you could send an email?
Exactly. And so just as a quickie example, this is actually something that I emailed to my mom last March.
So what is it?
This is a cool little email just about my birthday.
I'd bring my birthday to you.
And so you had stills, snappy grabs, I take it, and music and voiceover, and you're like a little movie maker here.
Right, and the coolest part about it is what you're actually seeing is full frame, 60 frame per second transitions. This has never been done before.
TV style stuff.
That's right. So what we've done is we've kind of brought back the lost art of assembly language programming. And you're seeing here directly just a generic PC.
Is this all done in software?
That's right.
Two quick things I want you to show me, or we're going to be out of time. You have a cube demo in which you do this incredible 3D rotation that really seems sort of impossible to do on a plain old PC.
Well, you know, basically it's the nerd in us, Stuart. Basically, you know, we wanted to be able to show off the power that you have in your personal computer today. And again, this is not using any 3D accelerator card. PictureCube allows you to create your own cube where you have your own images. Now, I just popped on some different images here. This is called the Kiki Cube.
That's just like show off what you can do, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you can have a really impressive screensaver now on your desktop if you want. Now, I can also press a magical button here, the M key, and voila, not only can you have stills, but you can put video in there as well.
All right, Gizmos 98 and 25 apps and what, 50 bucks or something like that?
Absolutely.
Very impressive, thank you. All right, that's our look at Windows 98, etc. I'll be back in just a minute with my pick of the week. Now for my pick of the week. These days, you've got to be connected to email no matter where you are. The problem is that usually means literally connected to something by a wire. It also means carrying around your laptop so you can access your email account. True, some people do email on palm tops and organizers, but that's not always a very practical thing to do. I have now found the ideal mobile email solution. It is this little pager-type device. This is a lot more than just a pager. It is really a wireless mobile internet terminal that lets you receive and send full email to and from any email address. It can handle text messages up to 2,700 words. As you can see, it comes with a complete QWERTY keyboard. Yes, the keys are tiny, but you're not typing a novel, just an email, and for that it works just fine. It also has this mouse-type device which lets you scroll through pages or menu items, and it has a button which lets you click on items to select them, and like a pager, it beeps whenever a new email arrives. This little device runs on one AA battery for up to 500 hours. That's almost a month. It has a great screen and many other pager-type features, which I don't have time to get into. It is called the RIM Interactive Pager. The hardware comes from a company called Research in Motion. The radio-based modem uses the Bell South Wireless Data Network. Coverage is available in about 90% of the country, and it is all digital. This little guy is really a problem solver. The device itself costs around $350. The service runs $25 a month. That's it for this edition of the Chronicles. We'll be back again next week with more of the latest in hardware, software, and the Internet. Thanks for joining us. I hope we'll see you here next time.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by Cybersmith, wired for fun and learning, with locations in Cambridge, Massachusetts, Palo Alto, California, and White Plains, New York. And by TechWeb, for up-to-the-minute technology news.
To purchase a videotape copy of today's program, call toll-free 1-888-310-7850. Please specify the show number and the topic.
Next week on the Computer Chronicles, the new Macs. We'll show you the stunning new iMac and tell you what it can do. We'll look at a real screamer, the new Power Mac G3. The new Apple is about more than just hardware. We'll demo the newest version of the Mac OS. We'll demonstrate some stunning special effects software that really takes advantage of the Macintosh platform. You'll get to hear directly from Steve Jobs about where Apple is headed, and we'll talk to some Apple experts and analysts about the future of Apple Computer. It's all coming up next week on the Computer Chronicles.